Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for another incredible session here of the African Father in America podcast. My name is Simon Javan Okello. I am in Seattle, Washington, and I am the host of the African Father in America podcast. I'm really excited to be here with you today. I hope you're also doing well. Let me know in the comments where in the world you are joining me from. Let me know where in the world you're joining me from. But today we have another amazing African proverb. Our proverb today comes from the Bemba community. Our proverb comes from the Bemba community. We are going to dissect it and we are going to learn a lot, and hopefully you will take the knowledge that you gain today and share it with your community, with your children, with your friends, with your family, whoever you think will gain some value from the conversation that we're having today. I am just going to take a look at Clubhouse here. I see that I've been joined by Lavender, Steven, and Cabs. Thank you so much for taking your time to join me today. I just want to give you a chance to say hello before we begin properly. I see William Jackson has also joined us on YouTube. Thank you so much. I want to hear from you, Steven. Just say hello quickly, and then we go to Lavender. Just say hi before we begin the show. Hey, Cabs, I want you to say hello as well. Thank you so much. Steven?
Hello, everyone. It's another beautiful evening. I'm happy to be part of this session. Thank you, Simon.
Excellent. Thank you, Steven. Lavender, how are you doing today?
Hi, Simon. Hi, everyone. There's Lavender. I'm doing great. I'm ready for today and looking forward to today's conversation.
Excellent. Thank you, Lavender, for your continued support. Hey, Cabs, how are you doing today?
Good now, and good morning to you, and good evening to, I guess, Stephen and Lavender and anybody else that might be in the evening hours. I'm doing well today. A little out of breath because I have my little animals that I had to get them physically active this morning, but I'm ready. I'm ready for today. Thank you.
Excellent. I hope you have your cup of coffee. I have mine, and I'm just about to sip on it as we begin the session. Excellent. Well, I'm really excited that it's also Friday. I want to welcome Koning, and also I want to welcome Empress, who has joined us as well, and of course M. Jewel has joined us on YouTube, and also our brother, who was our wonderful guest recently here, William Jackson. I was expecting a guest today from Jamaica, and it seems that she might not be able to join us. I don't know yet, but I just wanted to say that before we start. Our proverb today from the Bemba community says that a child is like an axe. Even if it hurts, you still carry it on your shoulder. A child is like an axe. Even if it hurts, you still carry it on your shoulder. This is a beautiful proverb, and I can't wait to hear what you all have to say about it. If you're watching on YouTube, I want you to share in the comments what this proverb brings to your mind. I want to repeat it again, and then I'm going to share the 3 nuggets of wisdom so that we can continue on our conversation right after that by listening to some of our brothers and sisters who have joined us on Clubhouse, and also by reading some of your comments on YouTube. But I can guarantee you that you're going to leave our conversation today with a lot of nuggets of wisdom that can really guide you for the rest of today and also really for the rest of your life if you love Proverbs and you appreciate wisdom, especially ancestral wisdom. Now, I'll repeat the proverb just one more time because I see that a number of people are just joining us. By the way, if you're watching this video, I would really appreciate if you give it a thumbs up and also if you leave your comment below so that we can engage with you later on and respond. If you look at all our videos on this channel, you find that we respond to a lot of the comments. There's a lot of engagement that comes after the live stream, and we want to continue building that. The proverb says, a child is like an axe. Even if it hurts, you still carry it on your shoulders. Now, there are 3 nuggets of wisdom that we prepared for you that are related to this proverb for today. The first one says that love your child unconditionally. Love your child unconditionally. This could mean, love something that is dear to your heart unconditionally. That could be your job, that could be your idea, that could be your own body, Sometimes taking care of yourself requires, unconditional love for yourself. Number 2, teach resilience and perseverance, teach yourself resilience and perseverance, teach your children resilience and perseverance, and also those who are teachable in your community, those who look up to you, ensure that you give them examples and you live as an example of resilience and perseverance. And then number 3, help children face challenges. This is really, really important, For me as a father, one of my proudest moments is always, being able to comfort my daughters. I remember even recently one of my daughters lost it. Sometime when you're too tired, when you're operating from very little sleep, you end up getting tired, and you end up not being able to really even think about what you're saying or what you're doing, and that's as an adult. So for children, you really, really appreciate them when they're tired, because if they're tired and they're very they're very strong and opinionated people, then you really know that they can really break your heart. And so if you don't stay with them during those moments of difficulties when they've lost their composure, they've lost their cool, and you see them through until they're able to gather themselves, they're able to be who you always know them as, or who they really love to be, you have not helped them face their challenges, and there could be worse challenges, in life. I grew up in an orphanage, my mother ran an orphanage, and so I grew up in an environment where we saw children who arrived with a lot of different stories, with a lot of different traumas, and part of our job was to help them with the healing process, to become their family, and so there I learned how my mother actually helped many, many children face their challenges. And so sometimes even without knowing, I find myself helping my children the same way, helping other children in the community the same way. So these 3 nuggets of wisdom are very, very special to me. Now, just quickly before we begin hearing from our brothers and sisters who are joining us, I just want to welcome Oga, who has joined us here again, and Sarah. Thank you for being here. You're one of our amazing supporters. And of course, I see Stella, I see Brother Rushi and Brother Earth. I just appreciate you all for being here. I'm mentioning people on Clubhouse, and I want to encourage you to just take a minute. Make sure you share the link to the room. Make sure you ping in, 3 to 5 people to join us for today's conversation. And make sure you tap the link at the top of the room and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am live there today. And today I don't have a special guest. All of you are special guests, So I want us to actually reflect on some of the the conversations, the proverbs we had this week. And so as you come on to share your own perspective about today's proverb, just take a minute and also reflect on how this week has been for you, because I feel that this week we've really we've done a great job. We've hosted a number of incredible guests, and of course Natalie, who is supposed to be our guest, is here too. So I need to send you, Natalie, the right link for you to join us on YouTube, but I see you on Clubhouse and I'm really excited about that. So while I figure out how to get Natalie on the show, I just want to invite Stephen. Stephen, just take a moment, share your perspective on today's proverb, and also share where you're joining us from, and briefly share how this week has been for you. And Natalie, I want to send you the right link on your Instagram account, and also Lavender has been trying to reach you by email. She sent you a lot of info about today's conversation, so check your Instagram, you'll find all the information. For now, let's hear from Stephen briefly. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for having me again, Simon. I'm Steven, joining from Kisumu, Kenya. This week I've been amazing. It's been pretty busy.
Steven, hold on for a second. Let's hear from Natalie, who is supposed to be our special guest today. Natalie, Dr. Natalie Kotesi is just an incredible leader, and I have a lot to say, but I want to give you space so that we figure out how to get you on the YouTube side of things. Go ahead, Natalie. Happy New Year.
Hi, Simon. Bonne année. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on the program today. I'm always excited to share with you, Simon. It's the best way to start out the year. And I'm just glad that you're back. We missed you when you were on your break. And I really love this proverb. I think this is a very interesting one. I think childhood is something that's certainly it resonates for all of us. We've all been children, and I think the context in which you've sort of framed it just now is quite poignant. A very interesting proverb to put together. Child and axe in the same proverb is a very meaningful symbolism for me, because children really do change your life. They build up families, they cut families down. That symbolism of the axe is quite something.
Excellent. Natalie, I would love to have you on YouTube. I wonder whether you're in a position to join us there. I sent you a link that you can use to do that, so that we...
I actually tried, Simon, to join on YouTube, but somehow I couldn't get into the chat. So I was in the YouTube space, but I couldn't somehow get into where you are. So I was sort of lingering, and I wasn't able to participate. So I decided to join using Clubhouse.
You did a great job. Check your Instagram. I sent you a link, an eCam link that will allow you to join. I would really love for us to have a full experience of Natalie live and direct.
Let me try Insta. Will do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, Steve, can you just start over again? Just introduce yourself briefly, where you're joining us from, and also, what your perspective on today's proverb is. And I'll go through everyone, and then we'll have a great conversation with Natalie, later on. Natalie is a really accomplished author and poet, and I'm going to tell you guys a little more about it. She's also a professor at the University of West Indies in Jamaica. So really, we have a powerhouse as our guest today. So Stephen, go ahead.
Thank you for having me, Simon. I'm Stephen, joining from Kisumu, Kenya. This week I've been great. It's been pretty busy from my end, and of course all the sessions we've had them back to back, which have been success throughout the week. Now on today's proverb, a child is like an axe. Even if it hurts you, you still carry it on your shoulders. What comes to my mind is the axe and what it signifies in our culture. In Luo culture, axe is very symbolic, and it's handled with a lot of care. More so, there are instances that any occasion cannot be carried out without an axe as one of the tools that are being presented. For instance, like if you want to set your home state, axe is very symbolic. So it's one tool that is very important, and it's handled with a lot of respect in my culture. Secondly, I'm also looking at the functions that an axe can do. How mighty and huge trees that an axe can pull down and fall just with the little effort put to the tree. So what all these symbolic functions of the axe that sends the message to me or means that we shouldn't underestimate our children. We should treat them with care, and we should value every child that we have. We should treat them equally because we never know how far they will go. In my culture, a male child is always highly valued, and if you are a man and you don't have a male child, you are considered like you have a problem. But then, if you are looking at our modern life today, you find like every child is equal, and every child contributes to the growth of the home, and contributes to the growth of his fellow siblings. So we shouldn't discriminate on our children based on gender or sex, but we should treat them equally. We should empower them equally, and we should have confidence in their capability. That reminds me of my son, my last born son, Emmanuel. He always likes, if he sees me in the farm, he wants to take the oar from my hand, and also he wants to till the farm. So what I always do is allow him to carry the djembe, however much the djembe is, if it's almost his height. He'll struggle and make sure that he lifts it 2 or 3 times. So with having them empowered now at their tender age, I'll not have to struggle tomorrow to shape their ways of life. So thank you, Simon, for having me. That was my moment.
Excellent, Stephen. Thank you very much for sharing your perspectives with us as well. I want to swiftly go to Lavender and Natalie. I've sent you a little more information in your Instagram inbox. And if you just click that link there, it will take you straight away to where I am so that you can join us for the show. Lavender, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts in regards to today's proverb? And what are your reflections briefly in regards to this week's sessions that we've held here in the African Father in America podcast?
Thank you, Simon. This is Lavender. I'm speaking from Seattle, Washington. My reflections about this week. I'm definitely waiting to hear from Natalie, but the past conversations we've learned, William Jackson joining us with his wife Ida was really fun, learning and listening to, we've learned so much when it comes to our ways of lives, health, and this room has been quite a huge support system when it comes to the audience in itself. I wouldn't call the gathering an audience, but I feel like most of you are now my friends and family. To speak about today's proverb, talking of today's proverb, A child is like an axe. Even if it hurts you, you still carry it on your shoulder. I don't know if any of you, anyone with kids, nephews, or nieces, anytime you hear them say a word you didn't expect, like stupid, or call somebody stupid, I usually reflect and I'm like, where did they hear this word from? So it has you watching what you say, how you act, because it will remind you of what you did around them. And that is sort of a reflection of what they saw from the environment they are in. So they teach you a lot. And then on the other hand, the axe is as good as you sharpen it. So the child can also learn when on the right direction, when you teach them values, like good values, and they grow up to be better people in the future when you teach them the right way. And it reflects when they're in school. Their caregivers will definitely notice that this child is taught more or nurtured well back at home. Those are my thoughts for today's proverb. I'd also like to mention the description on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel, or the link to this live session, is pinned at the top of this room. When you click on the description of today's proverb, you'll find so much resources, including the 3 nuggets of wisdom that Simon had shared earlier. Also, I'd like to share that you can subscribe to find the list of proverbs that we've shared throughout the years and how you can apply them to your life. The other thing is Simon's book. The link to Simon's book, Rooted in Love, is also on there. And our trip to Kenya, the link is also there, onevibexperience.com. When you click on that link, you'll get the itinerary of the 10-day trip to Kenya. The next trip is in 1st February, and the upcoming one is in July 10th. I heard you guys, I heard Simon telling Natalie to join on eCam. That's how we are able to share screens on YouTube. That link is also on the YouTube description section. You can find that app on there, and feel free to ask me any questions, or if you need more information, feel free to inbox me. Thank you, Simon, for the time to speak.
Thank you, Lavender. Thanks a lot. To everybody who is listening in and everyone who is watching, I'm really, really grateful for your love and support. And I just want to ask you to bear with me. I'm going to just come to Natalie quickly. So, Cabs, bear with me. I'll come back to you, and so that I can make sure we all hear you very well.
Hi, Simon.
Hi. Yeah, your audio is a little low. I wonder.
Each time I have to come on a program, this platform, somehow I have struggled.
Yeah.
Figure out your microphone, but here we are. I made it.
Yeah, you did. I deeply appreciate you for working with me to make this happen. And there's nothing better than being able to see your wonderful face virtually, because we can't see you physically.
Listen, Jamaica is waiting on you, Simon. What's going on?
I'm telling you, I have to come to Jamaica. You just have to tell me when is a good time to come, and let's make something out of it. Maybe I could come and do a series of recordings of the podcast there. You
That's
see,
a good idea.
yeah,
Your
and
girls would love Jamaica.
you see, and Jermaine, who is another Jamaican, is also in the building listening in.
How are you, Simon?
I'm doing well. I have Dr. Natalie Kotesi, who is a Jamaican poet. And just let me quickly introduce Natalie here. Natalie is actually the winner of the Caribbean Writers Marvin E. Williams Literary Prize for New or Emerging Writer for the Helper Experiment, and published in the Caribbean Writer Volume 34 under the theme Dignity, Power, and Place in the Caribbean Space. Natalie has actually performed here in the States. Natalie is also a professor at the West Indies University, doing incredible work and still creating time for us here. I remember way back when I was still figuring out where this platform was going to go. Natalie was one of the most consistent supporters. Africa Day, you are also one of the speakers, And recently in December, when I took time off, because I had a surgery, that's part of why I had to take time off from production. So I needed the break for healing physically, and also for my team to reorganize and be ready for this year. So it meant a lot to get a message from you just asking, hey, what's up? Why are you not doing the thing anymore? And then I was like, we are coming back, but I want you to be a guest when we are back, So thank you for honoring the request. I want you to just take a minute and add anything to your introduction. Did I not add some of your great accomplishments in the introduction? And then talk about this proverb. Talk about today's proverb. A child is like an axe. Even if it hurts you, you still carry it on your shoulders.
Sure. So I'm not sure you left anything out, Simon. I think that's about it. I guess if I were to summarize it, I would say I'm a writer. I'm an academic writer. I do a lot of research work as a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Jamaica. So you would find that I've written on tort law, intellectual property law, employment and labor law. But I'm also a creative writer. And I think that's how Simon and I, we met over a discussion about poetry and life is poetry. And so I've read on Clubhouse with you, Simon, from my 2 existing books. The first anthology is Fried Green Plantains, and the second one is Sky Juice. And I've had an incredible year since these 2 publications. And my third book, I can now confirm, is going to be published by Ian Randall Publishers. And the third book is entitled White Rum and Coconut Water. And I'm hoping that maybe it will come out this year. So very, very excited about that. I also won 5 awards in this year's National Literary Writing Competition in Jamaica. And that was a really big moment for me. So I'm happy about that. And those award-winning poems will appear in White Rum and Coconut Water. So, it's nice. It's really a good feeling of feeling blessed when you can see a little bit further down the path as a writer that something's happening and that there is a warm welcome for the work when you release it to the world, that it's resonating with people no matter where they're from, And I have you to thank for that, Simon, because you've given me an opportunity to have that echo chamber, This room, this chat, this program is an echo chamber for so many important thoughts, messages, and prayers that need to be shared because there's a listener who needs to hear it. So I'm so glad you're back. And just know that I'm definitely going to be praying for full recovery after this show. I am sorry you had to go through that, and I'm wishing you really all the best and full recovery. So this proverb, I think I started talking about it a little bit, and I'm going to see if I can follow the guidelines I got from Lavender And so I think the first thing that she asked of me was my thoughts on the proverb. So I think that the symbolism, I would identify three things: the child, the axe, and the shoulder. And for me, it's interesting that the proverb asks you to think about carrying on your shoulder, because then it takes it out of a more maternal carrying of the child, as a mother would carry a child, to a universal call to all persons to carry some sort of burden on the shoulder to allow something else to happen that's greater, something that everyone can benefit from. And that with courage, and by leaning in, and by offering a hand, and by being humble, bravery, carrying that child, as heavy as it is, as sharp as it is, accepting the dangers, something bigger and better is awaiting us at the other end, and it's for everybody. So I think there's a space where you can consider it really quite literally, which at first glance is what I thought of. I thought, oh my God, my children are definitely chopping me down. It's really difficult to raise two teenagers, right? And they're sharp. They tell you the truth when you're not ready for it. They are unfiltered. And when you look at them, you see yourself looking back at you. And sometimes that's difficult too. You don't get to run away. You don't get to give them away. You can't send them back. You have to carry them on your shoulders, no matter how heavy, no matter how much it hurts, no matter what life throws you. And so I think it resonated with me also as a mother of two children, how important that role is to embrace this responsibility of bringing children to the next level, and embracing and fostering an environment where the children can actually, be that next generation. And so I had two very different takes on the proverb, Simon. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Now, do you have Sky Juice by any chance nearby, or any of your books nearby?
I do. I
That's
just pulled them
perfect.
up a while ago. You might have seen me when I came on the camera. I thought, oh my God, I forgot the books. I went chasing downstairs
That's
to
good.
find the books.
So just think about a piece or two that you'd like to share with us during the show.
Sure.
Yeah, but I want to just take a second here to welcome everyone who is joining us for today's episode of the African Father in America podcast. We are live on YouTube. If you're watching, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you leave us with your comment down below, and also look at the description section. As Lavender advised earlier, there's a lot of resources there for you. We want our community members to take advantage of some of these doors that we are beginning to open. This show is growing. We are now a 5-star rated podcast on Apple. We are almost at 200,000 downloads in regards to the listenership, and we have over 3,100 subscribers on YouTube, and it's growing rapidly, and it's really because of the love that you're all giving this show, and we just deeply appreciate that. For those on Clubhouse, I see you all, and I deeply appreciate you for being here, from Joseph to Jermaine, Jay, Latanja, everyone on stage. Take a second, share the link to this room across social media, and also share it on Clubhouse so that we can invite some of our brothers and sisters who are not here at the moment. Now, back to you, Natalie. One of the things I ask all my guests, and I want to ask you too, is a childhood story, something that I think I've had you as a guest in the past, and you've probably shared with us a similar story before, but I want you to share something new, or the same thing anyway, because you didn't just wake up one day and became a poet or became a professor, but there is something that happened in your childhood that continues inspiring who you are today, you know. So I wanted you to share with us just a little story about what is it that continues to shape your journey today as the leader that you are.
Learning to dance, I think. For me, I started dancing very, very early. I couldn't have been more than, I don't know, 7 or so, 6 maybe. And I learned many different kinds of dance. I learned folk dancing, I learned ballet dancing, modern dancing. And in Jamaica, dance classes are usually held to drumming. And as I grew older, I realized that this was something that I really wanted to pursue. And I joined a dance company called La Cadco, a Caribbean dance force, it's called. And it's one of the premier dance companies in Jamaica. And I joined when I was really young. I remember I was 16. I joined as an apprentice. And I went on to become a dancer with the company. We went on tour. We did lots of seasons of dance. We performed at many reggae festivals. We performed at the first ever International Reggae Day. We performed with, there was a concert here by a very big African artist. Oh my gosh, his name escapes me right now. He came for Sumfest, and I remember we performed to his music at Sumfest.
Was that Lucky Dube?
Um,
Or Lucky Dube was one of the
was
few
it Lucky Dube?
or was it Alpha Blondie?
Was it Alpha Blondie? You know, I think it's Alpha Blondie.
It
I don't
has to
remember,
be
but
one
it was
of them. They've
one
been
of the two of them. But it was
yeah.
Reggae Sumfest, and it was just amazing. And I've always been very much moved by this synergy between dancing and drumming. And this particular dance company does a lot of original movement. In fact, the artistic director, Dr. Lantonette Steins, has developed her own modern Caribbean technique called Lantec. And so that experience of having the technique being formed on your body, because I was in the company in the formative years when she was developing the technique, and then seeing the company now and seeing the company go on to all major dance stages internationally, seeing the dancers go on to do really fantastic things, being a part of the process of this technique becoming recognized as one that could be taught to students during secondary school and advanced studies. So you can actually take exams now. And I was a part of that process. I was one of the first dance examiners for this technique. And such is my love for dance that I'm still dancing. I still go back to the School of Dance and take classes with the students. And it's like my church. I don't know how to explain that. It might sound hopefully not sacrilegious, but dance completely changed my life. It changed how I write my poetry. In fact, I think it's one of the things that I've had said about my work, that there is a rhythm, a musicality to the way my work sounds when read out loud, that in a way is a kind of dance, and it's not a mistake. You know, it's very much a part of my spiritual being and how I see the world and how I express myself. And it started very, very, very early. And interestingly, when I was a small child, I had what we call it duck feet. So my feet were turned in, and I would almost walk one foot in front of the other like this. And dancing helped me to completely change my posture. So, you know, dance changed me physically, spiritually, mentally. And I think it's such a shame that in teaching today, in most high schools, there's a tendency towards removing dance, removing theater, removing music, and focusing on other things because the cultural and creative industries, I think, doesn't always get the sort of support that it needs when in fact, for me anyway, from where I see it, it is the center. It is the heartbeat that makes everything else happen and everything else worth fighting for. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Now, while I still have your attention, I want you to pick a piece that you want to read for us, and after that, I also want you to share where we can get copies of some of your books, and then I'll go straight into our audience members. I know everyone is eagerly waiting to comment on our conversation and also to share their own perspectives on the proverb. But I just want to give you space, and I'm also watching the time that we have. I honestly feel that we need to have you back on the show, we need to have you back on the show because you have a lot to say, and I feel that I'm always rushing through our sessions together. So that's what we should do. Pick a piece that you want to read for us today. Tell us which book it's coming from, and afterwards let us know where we can get a copy, because I want everyone who is listening and everyone who is watching to also, go into their pockets and support the amazing work that you do.
Sure. All right. So today I will read Free. And it's from Sky Juice. The cover is looking, am I going the right way? Cover looks like that.
Right there. That's perfect. That's perfect.
The cover.
Yeah.
And it's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It's readily available. You just order it, they'll deliver it to you online. Free. A free man can see you in his sunburnt ancestors, yet he does not know his kin, the names of the slaves that boarded the vessels, nor the legend of their king. A free woman can feel you in her tightly knotted cane rows, but she does not know her tribe, the rituals for babies born in drought, nor the courtship for a young bride. Somehow I have known you all my life, because the spirits followed me through the middle passage, from a watery grave onto island shores. I rise up in a new world, free, yet still a slave. But Mother knows best. The wind rush that anchored me in Brixton capsized innumerable souls with my own. This village crippled folkways silenced the kalimba lilt of colourful voices into a dull monotone. I walk past generations firing up Electric Lane with gritty cultural fare, but shops no longer sell that brand of happiness here. I want to belong, to go home and come back, but there is no refuge from being born black.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you. That's powerful, Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to open space here for Cabs to just make a comment and also share, a comment on my conversation with Dr. Natalie Kotesi, who is our special guest today, and also, your own perspective in regards to today's proverb. Go ahead, Cabs.
Oh, thank you. I love that reading, Dr. Kotesi. There's a lot of people on the stage, so I'm going to be quick. On the aspect of the proverb, what I just thought to myself is sometimes, when they talk about a child being like an axe, sometimes you go through those teenage periods with children where it's difficult, but that is your child, and you'll find a way to figure it out. That's part of life, is there are always going to be difficulties. And then on to what you had said, and starting with dance and your view of dance. You sound like such a creative person. And your reading, I almost wish you could read it again, because it's so deep and so powerful. And it needs to be given some space to just rest and be received in the power in which it was read. So I mean, I'm still, taking it in me, but I was just thinking about, my ancestors and how they live, through me, and it can be interpreted in different ways depending on, where you're from and your story and your history, and also the ability to have empathy for, another part of us that went through, the difficulty of the transatlantic slave trade, and still, the fight for freedom continues. So thank you so much for such a powerful read.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Cabs. Um, and Dr. Natalie, we are going to give you a chance to just reflect on all the comments. So I'll just go through everyone so that I make sure we give as many of our brothers and sisters who are here with us space as possible. Let's go to Stella. How are you doing, Stella? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts in regards to everything, the proverb and the conversation with Dr. Natalie? Stella has been having trouble with her phone, so I understand that, just in case that's still the issue. And I'll go straight to Brother Earth. How are you doing, Brother Earth? And what are your thoughts? Where are you joining us from?
Peace and love, families, Brother Earth. I'm coming from the North Carolina territory. Greetings, village. Again, every time I come in this room, Simon, you know, hearing different people experiences, you know, it's like we get to experience different shades of life or different slices of life through other people's experiences when you bring them on, and it helps to broaden my horizons or everyone's horizons, and it opens your eyes to things you may have not normally seen. And as far as the poem that she read, I agree with Cobbs. That was very powerful, and that's something you almost really need to sit down and read it to really take in what she's saying. But what I heard or what I took from it is, and what's so powerful is because how they tried to use black to blot out our history, our heritage, our ancestors, and we are so much more than that. And just to have that level of consciousness is very important and powerful. And as far as the proverb goes, what I say is a child is like an axe. Even if it hurts you, you still carry it on your shoulder. Um, Understanding that most things that have the power to do good also have the power to do evil, regardless to the fact your child is your child, and you should always keep them close. Something your child might do, you might not agree with, if you might be against it, or it may hurt you, yet and still it's so important that you continue to love your child, because if you don't love your child, it can cause them to go over the deep end. And I'll give you this example. Um, I know a sister. She, call herself getting grown, start wanting to do what she wanted to do. She had a strict parent. Her parent got mad at her and put her out. When she put her out, she was into the street. She got on drugs. Uh, and she started selling her body or what have you. And I also know a brother who, like, his father was never in his life. He ended up taking him in when he was already kind of, I say, as a child, you go through phases. You go through where you learning phase, but most men or males go through a knucklehead phase. Anyway, he was in his knucklehead phase when his father took him in. They bumped heads like twice. The dude put the boy out. The boy started breaking into houses and getting all into stuff. And me and him was talking, and I told him, I felt like you sent your son to be out there with the wolves too soon. He needed more love and support, and instead of loving and supporting him, you sent them out to the wolves, and it ended up hurting him more in the long run. But I could continue to go on and on, but I'll leave the floor for the other family. Peace and love. It's Brother Earth.
Thank you, Brother Earth, for always sharing, snippets of stories that directly relate to the proverb of the day and really align with the conversation. So thank you again. Brother Rushi, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on, on the proverb and comment to Dr. Natalie?
Salam, salam. Wow, I was not ready for Dr. Kotesi today. That poem really set me. Was really deep. I really do appreciate the poem and what she's saying. I really do agree with her with the her interpretation of the proverb. But in her poem, what really stuck with me about the poem she just read was the last line was so deep. She said, "There is no refuge in being black." And that really resonated with me a lot. And that also resonated with how I feel about this proverb. There really is no refuge in being a parent, you know? When I read this proverb makes me think of grandmothers. We have so many grandmothers that are raising children for the second time. I think about how heavy of an axe that is, how heavy of an axe that really is when we have so many parents that they do so much for their child. And I think about the proverb yesterday when you think of that bad child who doesn't take advice. How heavy of an axe that is. I watch a lot of reality crime shows, and one thing that always gets me on reality crime shows when a young person gets arrested and they're in jail, or they're getting interrogated, or they're about to go to jail for a serious crime. They act like they don't care about the world, but the first thing they do is say, "Can you call my mother, please?" They always ask for their mother. There's everyone's so big and bad, but their mother is the only person that really sees them for who they really are, and the acts that they carry. That burden that their mother carries when they have a child that cuts down the world with what they do with their actions. So it really makes you think about that, and I really do appreciate the guest today, and hopefully she can come back for more because I am yearning for more of the poems that she has, and hearing her read it really brings a lot of light to it. So I thank you for the time, son.
Thank you again, Brother Rushi. Dr. Natalie is nodding. She's going to have a moment to respond to some of your comments here. Let's go to Latanja. How are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts in regards to, the poem and the proverb?
Good day and happy new rising. I am really just happy to be here. As it says, a child is like an axe. Even if it hurts you, you still carry it on your shoulder. And I say to birth a nation forms a great wave of creation. We become invested in our future based upon how we develop our children's direction. And there's pain in childbirth, yet we as mothers endure. We offer a shield of protection. And it also makes me think about the Proverb 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I recall my mother marching with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as she talked about how during the time of the civil rights movement and racism and everything like that, she marched because she wanted us to have equality and to know our rights. And I says, well, why is it that you all sat on the back of the bus? And she says, well, that's just the way it was. But Dr. King came and opened up their eyes and their awareness that they had rights. And so I did not ever experience what that is. I live in a free space and a free consciousness. So I did not go through anything and have no wherewithal or any understanding of what that could be like. And so when you have a mother that fights for you, that our ancestors fight for us, then we can walk through this life knowing that we are more than conquerors. And I like how Dr. Natalie Cortese talks about in her ways in which what inspired her is her dancing. So we need to be able to focus more on the creative passions that ignite us to be our very best selves. And I'll yield my mic.
Thank you so much, Latanja. I love that. I love that. Let's go to Jay. Jay, how are you? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts on the proverb and the poem?
Hi, Dr. Natalie. Good morning to everyone that's in the room because I'm coming from Seattle, so I'm saying good morning. I was so happy when I came on and I saw that Dr. Natalie was your guest. I'm just going to say three things very, very quickly because I know you're running out of time. First thing, anytime you have Dr. Natalie, decide that your room will be an hour and a half because she must be able to read her poetry. Um, when I saw that Dr. Natalie was on, I ran and got my book. I'm telling everyone, you must get the book Sky Juice. It is phenomenal. It's not just powerful, it is very rhythmic. And to hear Dr. Natalie read her poetry, you get a better flavor and feel of the emotions, of the smells, of the culture, of the food, of the history of Jamaica. It's fabulous. So I encourage everyone to get the book Sky Juice. I'm looking at mine right now, and I was really hoping that Dr. Natalie would have an opportunity to read Where Are You From? There are several in that book that are my favorite. So I agreed with everything Dr. Natalie said in terms of her interpretation of the Proverbs, so I won't go into my thoughts. I'll just say that I am in alignment and I am in agreement with Dr. Natalie's more deeper and more powerful interpretation. Thank you so much. And I was very honored, very quickly, thanks to Simon, to have Dr. Natalie as a guest reader with the African American Writers Alliance. And I want her back so much. So I hope one day we can figure that out. Thank you so much. Be
We
well,
will. We
everyone.
will.
Thank you so much, Jay. You and I are supposed to talk sometime today, so let's talk about how to bring Dr. Natalie back and, if possible, to Seattle one day. But I want to go to Jermaine. Jermaine, how are you, my brother? We brought someone who is in the same time zone as you here today. Dr. Natalie, just so you know, Jermaine has been representing Jamaica in this room almost every day. So I'm just really grateful for you, Jermaine.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Greetings, Dr. Natalie. Um, it really is a beautiful room, and Simon, is a pioneer on this app in promoting family values, Pan-Africanism, African culture, through his podcast. So, it's really, it's an honor to hear, your poem. And the last line as well was very, critical and vital, The, the last point of your poem that you just read. I'm a past student, of that institution that, you speak of, the University of the West Indies. I recall my times, in the writing center, on the reading room. I'm a terrible writer. That's the last course. And the first course I did. Give thanks, for Dr. Chantal Moore, Wendy McLean. I would love to reconnect with her, that assisted, in developing my writing skills. Um, Give thanks, for, um, your contribution to literature and poem. The University of the West Indies and the literature department have, very well, international renowned literature experts and poets, from, Dr. Professor Caroline Cooper, Melvin Morris, Kenneth Barr, among others. They have a lot of writings about Caribbean, and just Pan-African issues in their poems and writings. So I just want to honor you in this space, and that you will just continue to, to do your work. As it regards to the poem, not the poem, but the proverb, you know, what can I say? You carry a child. I guess the poem is based on most African mother who use a particular I don't know the name of it, but can you tell me the name of it, Simon, that they put that child in and carry on their backs, and they can do a lot of things, work while they have, can somebody help me to, what's the name of that thing that they use to put their babes
Yeah.
in?
In Kenya we call it shuka, or leso, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Ole, so
Yeah,
Shuka,
yeah,
and there
one,
are other
yeah.
names and language based on, the geographical location, but, that's a child, and you use the Proverbs as an ox, carry an ox on their back. And then when the child start to walk, you carry on their side, and they hold on to your apron, or your skirt tail, as we say in Jamaica. So it start to walk beside you. You grow beside you, become a man. And amazing. An ox to me is just like a child and a human being. It's the same. It's same way. It can be effective. It can chop wood fire, to warm the house and cook the meals. And that same ox can massacre the family. So it is so significant, this proverbs that you just bring forward, because indeed, you know, children are acts, they can be such glorious joy and peace and good values and make the family name continue in honorable way. But at the same time, I think Brother Earth says something about how children can go out, to create a problem for the society and cut down the society, and bring massacre. I'm sure Natalie can recall, a fellow Jamaican called Lee. He used to was unfortunately tied with Lee Boyd. His name is Lee Boyd Malvo, and he was linked with, a fellow called Mohammed in Washington, D.C., and he became known as the sniper, the D.C. sniper. That young man now who's in prison, perhaps for the rest of his life, was an ox that was let, to go uncontrolled, let loose, because human beings can be an ox, as I said before. So it doesn't really matter the parenting or lack of parenting. It's just, it's just the intrinsic, it's just the nature. A child can have a good mother, that love the child, give the child the best of the best. And when the mother get old, the child don't look at the mother, don't look at the parent. The child, neglect their parent in their old age when they, grow them, birth them, care them. So indeed, my perspective is just simply, that, a child, a human being is just an ox. And we just have to accept the good, the quality, and hope, that acts will, bring good news and good name to the value and to the family and to the parent, to the home and to the society. That is just my, interpretation. Give thanks again, Simon.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jermaine. We have the last guest here, Dr. Natalie, who is joining us from Namibia, and then you will be able to reflect on everything. And if possible, read us one other piece Jay requested, and it's difficult to say no to Jay. So my brother Emeka Joseph Kafunda, an amazing brother who has he's like an historian, and he's running a tour company, he's a film producer. Joseph has also been my guest here not too long ago, and he's really a collaborator of mine. How are you, Joseph? Where are you joining us from today? And briefly, what are your thoughts in regards to my conversation with Dr. Natalie and the proverb for the day?
Thank you, Brother Simon. Um, I'm finding myself, I'm still in Zimbabwe. I was supposed to be taking my guests for a walk to the Victoria Falls. And when I hear Doctor speaking or reading a poem, I couldn't um, move. So I told my clients just to have a look at the market while I'm enjoying the conversation, because this is a wonderful conversation. And her words are speaking volume to me right now before I could enter the mighty Victoria Falls. So I'm in Zimbabwe, and in the next 2 days, I need to be back in Namibia. Clubhouse has been really somewhere where we have spoken very vocally about traveling to Africa. I'm receiving 6 people that I met here also on Clubhouse when we're doing our Wednesday show promoting Africa. So I have 6 people are coming next week, Wednesday, that I have to be hosting here in Namibia. But the conversation of today, like I said, it's a very, very powerful message. I'm here listening, although I joined a little bit later. But I read the poem and I read the conversation of today, and I understood that a child is something or someone who is very important. When you have a child or when a child is being given birth, that person, we should be able to treat that person differently, because that's a future that we have there. And for me, it hurts a lot that I see Africans, we are still abusing our children when we have them. We don't really respect them. We don't really care about them. But all we care is about what if we don't have them. But imagine those who can't have those children, those who can't be even the children, the hurts, the much of hurts that they do have. So I always say that we should look at our children different, and we should be able to help them and assist them so that they can become the future generations. Because our generation of today, what we have, it's because of our parents that they care for us. They really show the love that we have. So if we can also show the love that we have for our children, we can have a better futures. So Simon, my apology, my clients are here. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much. And I will follow, or I will listen to the replay, and I will be able to I'll share it with the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Keep doing the work that you do of showing the world the beauty of Africa. Dr. Natalie, now I'm back with you. Before I give you, I pass the mic to you for you to be able to just wrap up the show for us. Number one, I want you to reflect on what you heard our brothers and sisters say. If there's something that stood out to you, feel free to speak about it. If you have a piece that you want to read for us in closing, also feel free. But most importantly, I want you to let us know where we can read where we can buy some of your books, because I want us to make sure we put a little bit of money in your pocket. It's difficult to to promote your own books as an author. It's difficult as an artist to promote your own music, but if you have the village that actually does it for you, it's great. And so for me, I want to, whenever I have a guest here, especially people who are doing groundbreaking work like you, I want to make sure I do what I need to do. So just quickly, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. And if you are on Clubhouse and you're not following me, I would encourage you to do that, because that's one of the ways that when we do this every Monday to Friday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you will be notified. Clubhouse will notify you when I go live on the app. And the same applies to YouTube. Once you subscribe, YouTube notifies you when we go live. So Dr. Natalie, please wrap it up for us.
Sure. Well, I think I was very, very moved by the last speaker who spoke about how we treat children when we have them, and how we view the role that children play in our lives. And it's very much adjacent to the point that was made by my fellow Jamaican right before him, when he spoke about how, despite best efforts, a parent, in particular a mother, he underscored how a mother might try her best with a child, but you can't sort of predetermine how that child might come out, but that you hope that this child, here signified by the axe, an axe who can be the force of potential, possibility, hope, change, many positive things. That while we are hopeful that with our continued support, the child could, of course, enrich the world. It's not a guarantee, and so perhaps for me, it ties in with how I viewed the poem and expressed the proverb, as I'd expressed earlier. Also, the significance of that shoulder, and having to carry the child like an axe on the shoulder, and that continued support, the importance of mentorship, Simon, the importance of the community rallying around the child, rallying around each other to move things forward. So I think that was really what I took away. And of course, Jay, who loves this particular poem from Sky Juice, Where Are You From? The poem does speak to perhaps sometimes how we don't support each other, and words can be very powerful, but their power resides in the ability to share the word, which is why your program is so crucial. It's providing a forum for the conversation to take place, and I'm so grateful to you for that, Simon. But as everyone offered their comments, I had another vision of what I thought the proverb could be saying, and it's this: that it is our own inner child that we have to carry on our shoulder, and that whatever childhood we experienced when we were young, that experience will carve us out. It will determine who we go on to become, good, bad, or ugly. That the inner child is an axe on our shoulder that we have to support for the rest of our lives. The experiences of learning to dance, the experiences of expression through writing, the experiences of being loved by one parent or no parent, the experiences of having friends, of finding a community to share, and the experience of having a mentor. All of those things spring from that child that you're carrying inside of you. You come back to that child again and again and again, no matter how old you are. There's an expression that says, once a man, twice a child. You come back to it. No matter how old you are, you come back to that self. How do you carry it forward? And there's another favorite, I think, of Jay's called Transfiguration, which I'll read. Also from Sky Juice, right? Transfiguration. I have wandered for decades from my birthplace, Kingston. I have seen foreign places, loved and hated foreign faces. I have evolved from brown to black to browning, doubted my identity, but never my beauty. I have a quick tongue and an impatient heart. I love love, and I have been broken many times. My curiosity has caused me loss, yet made me resilient. I have been weighed by my relationships as someone's daughter, sister, mother, wife, and found wanting. I've forged my own crown and built my own kingdom to keep happiness in and skullduggery beyond its borders. I have bubbled to dance hall and played reggae music. I've written couscous prose, but never understood my voice until I was still. I am all these things in the afternoon of life, but every morning my inner child rises with the sun, smiling because I am.
Yeah, that's beautiful and powerful and directly aligned to this proverb. I feel like when you think about this proverb, that poem, our conversation here, and also how many Jamaican poems, many African poems are so related. Sometime a couple of months ago, I used to see a sister from Brazil who could not understand English very well or speak English very well, but she attended these sessions, and whenever she could speak, she would say, that proverb is very much like this one, and she's Afro-Brazilian, so there's so much alignment that we can only understand when we sit together like this, like we are doing right now. And so, Dr. Nathalie Kotesi, I thank you very much, and I know you're busy, so I deeply appreciate it. check your Instagram inbox after this. But also
Yes.
tell us what your Instagram handle is, how everybody who is watching, how can they stay
Sure.
connected with you?
All right, no problem. So it's Natalie Cortese, just my name. There's my first book. This is Fried Green Plantains. And Fried Green Plantains is available from the Black Cultural Archives in London. You can order it online. And then there is Sky Juice, which is also available online from Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And I have a very good website called skyjuicebook.launch.com. And when you go to skyjuicebook.launch.com, you'll get to see pictures, videos. Um, there's a digital art installation, two short videos that you could watch. One which is movement choreography with a Jamaican choreographer to my poetry, and another one which is a digital art installation. Lots of photos and other events that I have done related to these two books so far. And of course, Simon, White Rum and Coconut Water is on its way. So one more book coming up. And I, of course, booking my space to come back to read and talk about the next title once it's out.
Yeah, for sure. I think we have to do a series. We have to do a series of conversations and go back to your first book, go back to Sky Juice, and as we wait for the new as we wait for the new one. So I'll connect with you, in private and just talk about how we can truly collaborate between Jamaica, Seattle, and Kenya. For now, I just want to thank all our guests. You've all been patiently listening and watching, and we can't do this without you. So your time is really, really valued, and I know that. And I want you to know that I am grateful. And so have a nice weekend. We'll be back here Monday to Friday next week, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. PST. I don't know what time it is in Jamaica, by the way. Go ahead.
It's 10:18 in the morning.
Oh, so it starts at 9 a.m. Jamaica time.
Correct.
Okay, great.
So Simon, I thought this was the French version.
We used to do French sessions on Fridays, but we... Yeah, say something in French. Then.
Non, j'avoue, c'est la raison pour laquelle j'ai choisi cette date, parce que je me rappelais que auparavant, le vendredi, c'était quand même, tu vois, réservé pour le français. Donc j'attendais un peu d'échange avec les autres francophones, quoi. Mais ça fait rien, je suis très contente d'être ici et merci beaucoup de m'avoir.
Merci beaucoup. That's all I can remember now. So for those who don't know, every Friday used to be the same program, but we would center French speaking people of African descent. I miss those sessions. We could not sustain it, but if you want to come back every Friday, we can revive them. Think about that. Anyway, thank you so much. And Jay was right. If we are having a conversation with you, we should plan for an hour and a half. Now I know. Anyway, you have a beautiful weekend. You'll hear from me. Yeah, you'll hear from me for sure. Thank you so much.
I'm ready.
Okay, blessings.
The answer is yes.
Perfect. Okay, you'll hear from me.
Okay.
Blessings.
Bye everyone, and thank you so much for sharing.
Anytime.
African Father in America. Tujikaze. Africa, tujikaze. America. Tujikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.